We're going to bring up Rob Powers again to do this next fantastic interview. So, gents, please take over the floor.
Thank you. So, you should gather around because this is going to be a good conversation. I mean, you know, Chris has been, you know, what would you say your career is 20 years? 20? How long is?
Not quite that, but probably about 16.
16. So we worked together back at Netter Digital with Judy, who's here. Hi, guys. And, you know, Chris is now working on some amazing work that is not necessarily as apparent as The Worm, but it is still as impressive. Name some of the other shows you're working on.
Oh, boy. Well, on the sitcom side, there's Mike and Molly, 2.5 Men, How I Met Your Mother. We do the show, the HBO show Newsroom. We do, for Showtime, we do Dexter and Shameless. Of course, a bunch of pilots, a lot of other shows, just piecemeal effects. And
you were telling me the other day that the workflow for this is you are the 3D pipeline there. It's you.
More often than not, I am the sole person, but we've had a few people like Drew Redford here on a few shots on Dexter.
Drew.
Did whole sequences.
And you're basically interfacing with Flame artists.
Yes.
And you're outputting FBX files sometimes that they load into Nuke or to or the Flame.
We've done a few things. Usually I'm exporting passes.
Okay.
With Lightwave, I often just do beauty passes direct, but I've also split out things as EXR files. Occasionally I've made 3D camera moves in Lightwave that I'll export as FBXs directly into Flame.
So your cameras, you can export from Lightwave with FBX into Flame directly, and those cameras match.
They match perfectly, yes.
Match perfectly, so you guys can do all these elements, and you are basically delivering 3D assets to them with a 3D camera.
Yes.
That's great. So what we're going to show now, let's pull up a shot from Dexter, I believe it is, where... Or maybe you tell me what this is. Let's play one of the build-ups.
Well, right now it's a logo.
There we go. What's
this is The Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory.
Now with sitcoms, it's interesting because they shoot everything on location. I mean, sorry, in the studio. They never leave the studio, and they write script pages that are outside a lot, and so we have to replace all these. A shot like this, you'll see it's 5-10 feet of actual things, and we have to build out the whole rest of the neighborhood.
Amazing work. I mean, who knew that shot wasn't real, you know? I mean, the fact that Chris can sit there in the pipeline with Lightwave and deliver those assets to make that shot on blue screen or green screen look like that. It looks like I thought it was shot on location.
Here's some more stuff from Dexter from last season. So, this was interesting. They shot a woman on an airplane, but they needed the airplane to fly. They couldn't for insurance reasons, so we just cut her out and put her on a 3D Lightwave airplane.
That's very cool, Chris. So typically, again, you know, when you're on the job there, what mostly is your role? Do you do everything? Modeling, texturing, rigging, animation, and rendering in Lightwave?
Yeah, I mean, modeling isn't necessarily my strong suit, so if it's a very complex model, I'll get one of my modeling friends to model it in Lightwave. But yeah, the entire 3D pipeline is all Lightwave.
It's all Lightwave. Wow. Tell us about this one with the Halloween costume.
This was an episode of Mike and Molly, the Halloween episode. And
that's very cool.
They just had... This was actually one of their biggest dress outs, is they had just a fence and some plants, but we had to make it into a Halloween neighborhood. Another shot that I think Drew helped me on. And
it's very cool. You know, virtual set extensions is obviously one of NewTek's strengths. Those of you who know our TriCaster product know that the live virtual sets in the TriCaster are created with Lightwave. And really the TriCaster is rocking the broadcast industry, live streaming and live production with those virtual sets. But what you're doing is set extension in a very elaborate and detailed way that I think enhances these shows, and people don't even realize the amount of work that you guys are putting into this, because it's flawless and seamless.
Well, it's also interesting with these sitcoms, it's shot more like a stage play. You have multiple cameras, so we have to have the sets that work at all the angles. We don't just we don't build to the camera, we build the sets out and then match the cameras as we go along.
Wow. That has to be a real time saver kind of...
it is a time saver.
Yeah, I mean, it's fundamentally changed the way that they've shot these shows, I would imagine.
Yes, actually, after the first few episodes we did it, they've actually written more and more pages of them outside or on the roof or in the backyard.
Wow.
Because they don't have to build it. They could just come to us, and they know that we can give them what they need.
So the imagination is kind of whatever they want to do, wherever they want to go.
It's given them more freedom, yes.
More freedom. You know, that is really so fundamental to this process, that technology can facilitate better stories and more freedom for writers and for artists, because that is what technology is for. It is to facilitate the evolution and the elevation of our stories and our work, and I think this is a perfect example. The writers can do more things, they can think of more things, you see more things and experience more things in this show because of this, the possibility of what you guys make happen with them. And they would otherwise have to limit what they're doing. Now this is some great work. This is your reel from...
Oh yeah, this is from Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica.
The season that I supervised.
I'm sure everybody who has not seen Battlestar Galactica, come on, it's great, right? Chris was one of the, yeah, awesome. I mean, one of the key, you know, staff involved in that. What was your role on Battlestar Galactica?
I was a CG supervisor for season 2.
CG supervisor for season 2. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We were just at Comic-Con, and these shots are still like everywhere you look.
Well, we had a lot of fun with that. We had a great team and a really good producer, and they just kind of left us alone, and we just did a bunch of cool stuff.
Wow, beautiful work. Beautiful work. And there we go with the worm again, which I love. Chris won 2 Emmys
like a
for.
high school reunion for me.
Yeah. You know, this work, I have to tell you, I was sitting next to Mark Rydell when we did the VFX Minds event, and when your worm came up, he just went, "My God." I thought it was so great because that says it all. I mean, seriously, this was so impressive, and to think that it was done on a television budget and schedule, and you were driving that process is, you know, amazing to me. And I'm so happy to have you come and share this with us today. What are we looking at here?
That was the finale for Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wow.
As I recall, Joss Whedon had just seen the 2 Towers and said, "I want to do the Battle of Helm's Deep," and we have 6 weeks.
We have 6 weeks, and you can do the Battles of Helm's Deep. Well, you were using Lightwave, so obviously there's no problem. It's easy to do that.
Well, there were some problems, but we did pull it off.
You did pull it off. That's the
I think we had 2 or 3 artists do that entire sequence.
Wow. This is beautiful stuff. I mean, the thing I loved about BSG is how poetic the shots are, you know, and it really is visually beautiful and dynamic. What is this that we're looking at with the, well, it goes back to BSG here, but there was some kind of cable that was wiggling.
Oh, that was some previs work. Actually landed us a show back in the day. There was a show called, I think it was called E-Ring. It was some...
this is it, yeah.
And they wanted to do what's called a Fulton recovery, where you have a plane come in and grab a cable, lift someone up. And so I just whipped out in Lightwave a little animation of what I think it would look like, and we got the show just because of that.
Wow. That's really impressive. Look at that. It's overwhelming. That's really beautiful. And again, you know, the render quality that Lightwave brings to the table with this, I mean, how can you get any better than that? I don't understand. I mean, you know, Lightwave includes the complete pipeline from model to render. If you don't know, the pipeline choice is so important. When you purchase a software, you're purchasing a pipeline. It's like when you marry someone, you're also marrying their family. That's what you're doing when you choose a software. You're marrying the pipeline as well. So with Lightwave, you know, having this quality render come out of the package, it's included for $14.95 is the cost of the package. You have unlimited render licenses, 999 essentially unlimited render licenses. So I'm so amazed at how you've taken our product and you have done. That was a cool shot. Oh, you told me the story behind this. The girl was afraid of going outside.
Oh yeah, this is an episode of Shameless.
Shameless.
This woman's an agoraphobe, and she finally gets up the strength to go outside, to walk down the street, and a piece of an airplane lands right in front of her. And of course, they didn't want to go buy a piece of an airplane, so we just put one in for them.
It reminds me of that song, You Had a Bad Day. That is so hilarious. I mean,
but it's nice to be able to work on. We do a little bit of a lot of shows. We don't have one signature show where we do a bunch of effects on, which is what I'm used to. But instead, we do 2 shots, 5 shots, 20 shots in many, many shows.
You kind of make, you know, this kind of stuff adds so much excitement to the show. You know, I mean, that was a really cool sequence. That
the exception is what you're seeing now. This Dexter episode, I think we had 115 shots to do.
Wow. What was the time frame for that?
I think we had about 3 weeks.
3 weeks to do 150 shots?
There weren't a lot of them were compositing, but there were a good 50 that were Lightwave.
Wow. And again, how many people were on the staff, the 3D staff for that?
We had a staff of 3, but like I said, we had 3 shows going at the same time.
But for working on this one, how many people worked on this show?
We had 3 people, but they were only doing 1/3 at a time because, like I said,
Gotcha.
we had one guy working on a big Mike and Molly episode, one guy working on a big Dexter episode, and one guy working on, I think it was on this.
Is this the final here of the shot? There she is.
Think
She's
these are
been
finals.
afraid to go outside, and there we go. She definitely had a bad day right there, and you made that possible. You feel guilty at all? No.
Actually, that model was. This is a case where I had someone else do the model. This was done by the great Dickie Payne.
Oh, Dickie Payne. We love Dickie. Dickie, if you're watching, peace, brother. We love you. Awesome. This is so cool. And, you know, to be able to do a set extension like that, to add the subtleties of that Halloween fence in the graveyard, really brings a richness to the production design of that shot. And now, again, we're seeing the great Battlestar Galactica stuff that you did, which we all love. Anybody who loves sci-fi knows if you're doing sci-fi television, which we all love, which inspired most of us to be in this field, and you're not using Lightwave, you're crazy, I think. I'm just going to say you're crazy because, I mean,
Well, if you don't use Lightwave, you probably weren't working on those shows because everyone was.
That's right. That's right. I mean, look at that. That battle sequence is like, wow. That's crazy. That is so cool, Chris.
That was fun.
You know, it's an honor to have you here. How many Emmys have you won, after all, by the way?
That's a leading question.
It's been
3.
There you go. So, I mean, you know, most people strive their whole careers to win 1 Emmy, and he has multiple wins, and I think, you know, multiple beyond that nominations for all the work that you've done. I think we are, you know, if people knew exactly how many shots in shows that they love that your hand has touched, either by supervising teams of people or by doing the shots yourself or touching them with your hand in some way as part of a team, I think they would be amazed because you have been really one of the most productive and creative, and your work has always, from the time we started working together, was impeccable and was the best work that was done at the studios. I mean, Netter Digital, you clearly were one of the best people at that studio, and I'm honored to have you come down and take time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys have got a lot of stuff going on right now. For you to come down and do this and share what you do with us, it means a lot to me personally, and I appreciate our friendship and the work that you do. So thank you so much, Chris
Thank
Zapara.
you. I've been very lucky.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Chris Zapara, and check out more of the work. Do they have a website that they can check out from the company?
The website is mfxdesign.com.
mfxdesign.com. So check out
Kind
more
of under
work.
construction, but it is there.
Do you have your own personal website to share work?
Actually, I don't.
You don't. Well, we should work on that.
Okay.
We'll get that going. So thank you, guys. Chris, thank you for being here.